situations like that and saying like, come on, we can have some fun with this. So
It should be showing it's in here right now. Let's see. Don't know why.
do you like our new commercial?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, well,
I'll have to look.
it's plays in the morning. I've seen it in the morning, but with Jeff Houghton.
Oh,
It's right there on the, yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. We've got some good feedback on it.
I don't see this live. I see a frozen shot of me. Let's see. Let me go ask Tori.
Okay.
I hate to do this and then not have it record.
Yeah, that would be a shame.
We should see you on the two shot. Hey, Tori. I see a frozen shot of me. I see a frozen shot of me on the ingest. I don't see the live.
Sometimes it'll use it like that, but it should be fine.
Hey,
You remember Jennifer, this is Tori?
Yeah, you're good. It's recorded.
Okay.
Yes.
It was just frozen on
Yeah,
that
sometimes
screen.
when this computer goes to sleep and it pops back up, this screen will like freeze a little.
Okay.
But it's doing its job.
We're
So you're
recording. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good.
Do you need help with anything else while I'm in here?
I don't think so. It looks like we have microphone testing 1 2 1 2. Wait.
Microphone 1 is you.
Yeah, I'm going to leave me down so the echo doesn't get so bad on the
Okay.
primary speaker. Is that supposed to be red?
No, so this will get like closer to here is where you're kind of wanting to go.
Yeah, except I don't like the echo it gets.
Okay.
So I'm trying
So
to
you're good.
mitigate
Oh
the
yeah,
echo.
that part there, that's fine. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at the red.
Yeah. And then if she has her mic on, you want to talk real quick?
sure. Testing 1, 2, 3,
Go
4,
again.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I think it's working. Okay.
Okay.
Here, let me turn mine off and make sure. Okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, cool. All right,
Yep.
we're
Okay.
good.
It's working.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
Yeah, so
see.
there's the commercial. So that's what made me think about it. Is that
I will look at it when
Sure.
we're done. Let me see. That's camera 2. So I need to make you a little more centered. Otherwise, that looks good.
okay?
Okay, so we're talking about
College kids, the reentry.
yeah, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about
Yeah.
college kids coming
Right.
home, reentry.
Yeah.
I'm kind of familiar with this on my third daughter.
You're kind of in that season.
Coming back
Yeah.
home. So this is Jennifer Baker with Live
Right.
Life Well, and this is what we do. We talk about these kinds of things that
Right.
involve parenting, and
Family dynamics.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what happens is you have a college kid. They go off, and they're away for 6 months or a year,
A year.
basically,
Yeah.
and they're under your rules through high school, and they go off and all of a sudden they're not on your rules.
Yes.
But then they come home for the summer.
Yes.
So what kind of adjustments have you seen, or what kind of conflicts have you seen come up because you have this young adult
Right.
who's established their own rules?
Well, when they leave, parents think, "Oh my gosh, life is so different," and it is. It's a period of adjustment.
Yeah.
But then they find they kind of get to like it because there's like no dirty dishes in the sink, and the bed stays made, and the house is picked up, and then they come back, with all their stuff and their schedules and their routines and what they like to do. And that is an adjustment for parents, a transition, especially I think in the first year, because you've missed them so much and you're looking forward to having them home. But yeah, now they're not going back to the way they were when they were 17 or 18. Now they're 18 or 19. They've been used to calling their own shots, their own schedule, but they're coming back into your space, and you have some feeling of like, but I'm still paying your bills. And so that's a renegotiation, a transition space for parents and kids.
One of the things we've talked about in the past, not specific to this, is schedules. So
Yep.
maybe the family has a mealtime
Yeah.
set. And I know this has happened. My wife knows their favorite meals.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come back, she's like, I'm going to make this girl's favorite meal.
Yes.
So then they come back, and there can be disappointment if there's not communication.
Right. So one of the first things you need to talk about, and maybe you just schedule ahead of time and say, hey, let's have our welcome home meal as a family on this night, and we're going to eat at 6 as usual, and then we can kind of talk over the summer. So I think it's good to kind of check in with them and let them know your expectation. And by the way, we're having lasagna because I know that's your favorite, honey. And then, so you set that up, and then there's some things that you're going to want to bring up at that meal in a really friendly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's about more than just welcome home.
Right.
It's going to be more like, by the way.
Or,
Or-
since you're back home.
Okay.
So let's say they don't have a car, because they didn't have, maybe a lot of kids have a car, but not everybody has a car. Maybe there are younger siblings, and maybe your expectation is that they will help out with transportation. They'll take that younger sibling to a sporting event or practice or something. And you could say, well, since you're home, and you're part of the family, and we're still paying a lot of your bills, I'm wondering ways that you think you could help out this summer that would work with you and your schedule, because you might also be working. So what are some ways that you thought, or that we could expect that you might be willing to help out?
And it's not always going to go smoothly.
No.
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 And I'll use the example of the towel.
Okay.
One of my daughters, she knows who she is. I'm not going to name the daughter. Would have this habit of not putting the towel on the towel rack.
Right.
And for me, and I'm not saying this is the right way, it didn't get the results I hoped. And I think I tried to adjust over time. I'd be like, pick up your towel. It's going to get all moldy. Just pick up the towel. My wife approached it much differently.
How did she approach it?
She approached it with kind of humor. Like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I see your towel's on the ground. It's a shame you're going to get all dirty again after you. She would kind of not take that direct, pick up the towel. She would try to have a little humor with it. Kind of like, oh, you just got cleaned. It's a shame you're going to be rolling in dirt again. I think over time my wife was more successful. Yeah.
Well,
when it came
the
to something like that.
full frontal approach doesn't always work real well.
I know.
You might, for me, I might try something like, oh, it's on the floor. It must be dirty. I'll just throw it in the tub. So I don't have to look at it, but then the next time they need a towel, where's their towel? Oh, okay.
It's
Or
in
I
the
might
tub,
say,
yeah.
it seems like you like to use a lot of towels. I wonder if you'd be willing to help with the laundry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the kinds of things you start to see when they come
Yes.
home again. And I know I read an article you wrote about this, and you saw this happen in a previous life where kids would go off to college and they'd come back home, and the parents maybe haven't seen them in a month or
Right.
2 months, and they'd be like, what happened? You changed. So how does a parent, this is a young adult.
Yeah.
It's not your little baby anymore.
Well, parents change and they get
Yeah.
used to having their new routine, but especially if there are no more children in the house.
Yeah.
But kids change too. So you could say, I think at friendly at that dinner that you're having, it's like, hey, I know you've been calling your own schedule when you're at college. And so, you know, we're not worried about that because we don't know what time you're coming in. But when you're at home and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and I don't know where you are, I start to worry. What could we do so that maybe you could let me know I don't need to worry? And then I will, you know, then you can come and go as you like, but I need to know, like, if I lock the door, you know, are you still outside or?
Right.
And just that kind of respectful, hey, I'm going to be staying overnight with some friends tonight, so I won't be home, so don't worry. Or, hey, if I'm going to be really late, I'll give you a call, I'll text a message, so that if you wake up and you look, oh, okay, yeah, they're not going to be home. I will let you know. And so it's just a respectful thing you do for people you care about.
And in terms of them asserting their independence, in terms of changing their physical appearance, so maybe they had blonde hair and it's black, or black hair and it's blonde, or it's long to short,
Yes.
or they come home with a tattoo and you really didn't want to have them have a tattoo.
Or leopard hair.
Or leopard hair, yeah. Whatever it is, maybe they've decided they're going to change their appearance in some way,
Right.
physical appearance. Is there much you can say or do about that? It's not your choice, is it?
It's really not. And there, as parents, I would suggest that you suck it up. You know, just go, oh, well, that's interesting. It wouldn't work for me. When one of our children came home with leopard hair, he did not get the job that he had hoped to get that summer, I think because of his hair. But he had to learn that himself, and we couldn't tell him that. And so I think that's something that we need to remember, is that some lessons our children need to learn themselves.
So they have to find out, maybe, was it because of my leopard hair I didn't get that job?
Maybe that didn't,
That didn't go over so well?
And also we just need to realize that different generations have different things that are appropriate to them, and they may not be our thing, but having a big reaction is not usually helpful. I think maybe the more important thing is, like, how do we be respectful of each other? Would you like to have dinner together? Sometimes parents, like, you need to be here all the time. It's like, no. Would you like to have dinner a couple nights a week? When could we expect you to do that? Is there anything fun you want to do together this summer? Like, hey, if we as a family all wanted to go to 10 theater, or we as a family all wanted to go to on a float trip, is there a day that would be good for you to do that? Those are kinds of things, as well as, because you're still living in our household and we're helping with your finances, what would you like to do to help out? I have some ideas, of course I do. But maybe you have some things that you think you could help out with without being reminded, because, you know, I don't want to treat you like a little kid. And at 19, gosh, if you tell me that you're going to do the laundry, then what day of the week could I expect that to be done?
Yeah.
Without reminding you, because I'm going to feel bad if I have to remind you.
Or one of my other favorites.
Mow the lawn?
I don't mind the lawn. I don't mind as much, because a couple of my daughters actually like doing that, and they'll do it. And I don't love doing it, but it's not one of those chores I hate. But one of my pet peeves is always, like, the dishes in the sink.
Right.
And as we've talked about, I used to have to hand wash the dishes. So to me, it blows my mind that there's a dishwasher here and there's a sink here, and the dishes make it to the kind of area of the sink, but they don't get in the dishwasher. So I kind of just, that's one of those things, and I just am like,
so, you know, of course you can ask. You could say, I know it's not a big deal. You probably don't do this at school, but it means a lot to me if you would put the dishes in the dishwasher. If it were me, I'm just ornery enough that if that happened enough, I would stop talking. I would load up all the dirty dishes. I would just put it in their room. I would just, because they would get the idea, like, you know, it's a lot more convenient for me just to put the dish in the dishwasher than to have to bring everything down from my room and put it away after it's all dried and sticky. And I would inconvenience them in a small way to remind them that I noticed without using any words.
Without using words.
Words, you don't need to use words.
Would this be a case where you could use the humor? Like,
Absolutely. Well, I think that's
I
funny.
am so old, I can't tell if I have to have my readers on to see if there are any dishes that didn't make it to the dishwasher. Maybe my eyesight's just that bad. I can't tell if there's. Is that a dish right there that's dirty and should be? Does that? I'm going overboard there a little bit, but does that work?
If that works, I think do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly all right. It's your house. If the neighbor's child was staying with you for the summer, you certainly would ask that of the neighbor's child, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then it's reasonable to ask that of your child as well.
Okay. We know that it's going to be great
Yeah.
in many respects because I mean, face it, every time my daughters leave, I miss them.
Yes.
And then when they come back home, it's like, great, they're back home. But there are going to be those conflicts that come up.
Right. And it can be really great, and you can get to know their friends. The other thing you might want to talk about is, will there be a lot of your friends here? Should we plan on feeding them? How do we treat the house so that we all feel good about being here? Yeah, it's like any time in a child's life, even an adult child's life. It's a different season. You're going to have to shift and change a little bit, but it can still be a wonderful time.
And before we end this conversation on this topic, August is going to be here
Before you know it.
before you know it. And that's another time of transition for
Yep.
the parents. It's a little like, I've had my daughter around all summer and now not. And there will be a little like, we did it again, you know.
Yeah.
But there will also be a little of that sadness. Is there any way you can prepare as a parent for that August when August comes faster than you think?
I think just remember all summer long that even when there are minor irritations, it's like it's just for a season. There are different seasons of life. And so that is the season that they're going back. You're glad that they're independent and they can do that. But of course, you're going to miss them a little bit, and they'll be home before Christmas.
August will be a whole set of different emotions,
Right.
and then you can look forward to Christmas. It'll be
Right.
Yeah, I did it. They're off on their own.
Right.
And then I'm not playing taxi cab driver for 3 hours every afternoon.
That's right.
Because I certainly remember those days. A lot of days when I was like 3 daughters. It'd be like I go from here to here. I drop this one off here, and then I go here, and I don't have to do that anymore.
I have no life of my own, and now you can refocus on other things that you enjoy, and I do think that's really important for parents. As kids are growing up and leaving, you need to remember to refocus on things you enjoy.
All right.
Okay?
Dr. Jennifer Baker, we always
Thank you.
happy to have you here for Live Life
It's
Well.
enjoyable.
Been partners for many, many years. If I want to do one more thing before we go, and this is only taking me a second because I have to click some things and switch it around. This is your website.
Yes.
And you have, I often refer to this, you have blogs on here.
Yes, we do.
You have your blog, you have a podcast.
Yes.
And if there's a topic that involves parenting or fatherhood, you can always go to your website, check it out, and there will be a topic that's discussed on there. If there's not a topic, I'm sure you'd write about it if people contact you.
And I'm sure if people contacted you, we could talk about it next month.
All right.
Okay.
Jennifer Baker
Thank you.
on Good Dads. On Live Life Well. But Good Dads is close enough.
Okay. Oh, those are some fun times and some interesting times.